Lynsey G, aka Miss Lags a Lot in some circles, is a copywriter, reviewer, interviewer, columnist, and blogger, writing for and about porn since 2007. She is 1 foot in and 1 foot out of the adult entertainment industry. Formerly a smut scribe for Fox, Jugs, and Type magazines, MadisonBound.com, and McSweeney's Internet Tendency, she is now the editor-in-chief at Whack magazine, an online trade publication for the adult industry, and a blogger at her own website. She is a poetry whore with the New York City Poetry Brothel, always working on at least one art project and manuscript, and may also be penning a graphic novel about porn and world domination, maybe. Please welcome Lynsey G to the stage.
This is a lot more serious than the last one, so put on your serious caps. His hair is getting whiter quickly now. His face is still youthful, soft skin and big eyes, but his hair is shockingly peppered for his age. Neither of us has yet reached 30, but the amount of abuse we've put each other through has brittled our bones. We hug as if it's nonchalant, but moments after his entry into the bar, we are locked back into an orbit that has spun us out of control for almost a decade. And now, we're within each other's arms again for the first time in years. Then apart again, spinning, ordering drinks. My friends lead us to dinner, another bar, a game of darts. We down our pints of porter and shout into each other's ears. He's leaning in too close. I lean closer, savoring the memory, biting my lip. We know we can't be doing this, and the sparks of our metallic cores bouncing off each other glitter our eyes. Magnetic attraction? Force of nature? Ridiculous metaphors for a mundane truth, one we've danced around for 5 years, almost successfully, since we last let it rule us. But we do not want to leave it behind. The first time we gave in to the immense gravitational pull between our bodies and minds, or any of the times after that, we smashed craters into each other until dawn. The heavy fate of it, the sweat, the way we slipped between each other's ribs like daggers hidden in our wrists. Who would want to forget the way our collision's shadow flickered on the wall? We were young, and we did what physics demanded that first time. What else could we do? We tangled together, helpless and desperate in the darkness beyond candlelight, the moral deficiency of my apartment hushing our breath and stopping the night, stretching it into an interminable something. A few weeks later, before he went abroad, we came together once, twice more, silent and sad in the afternoon, hushed and locked away from my roommates. I let them go, then, the threads of emotions I'd held so tight after another had broken me. For years, I'd kept the untidy ends of myself wrapped around my knuckles, turning my fingertips white. But those first few times, I let them slip away and fall onto his collarbones. I let my eyes hold his through the film of tears. I begged him not to leave. The perfect fit of him, the rush of the collision, the ache he left afterward undid me. It was confusing and shattering, the way we locked together, and I was afraid of the dilation of his pupils. We stood like that for minutes, considering each other. It might have lasted for hours, but someone knocked on the door, and we rearranged ourselves. The barrier we put up in that moment has never fully dropped. Too dangerous. Too much of us might show through our skins. Years later, we tentatively approached each other again, quietly. Exquisite nights, violent impact, in corners too dark for shame, behind our hands clasped over each other's mouths. We fed this fire, this stupid, heedless blaze that we fan because we're both adrenaline junkies, and the few vices that get us to the same place as our bodies intersecting are more lethal. Tonight, it's clear that we don't want to forget those things. We never speak of them, but they are there, playing in his eyes on repeat. Tonight, what we both want to forget instead is the dull, brutal hatred that set in when I denied him, when I held him away with me. To muffle its constant pressure on my solar plexus, the dragging force that his heartbeat exerted on my skin, I took up depression. He took up drinking. Self-loathing is an appropriate substitute for the truth.
There you go.
We made shows of moving forward, attracted satellites, and circled each other so slowly we seemed to be moving in straight lines. Planet-sized predator and prey, never admitting we might both be devoured. And now, here we are. Eyes locked like they haven't for half a decade, the novelty of our aging faces re-entwining us in this dance. Pupils huge in his slate blue eyes. My hair is frizzy in the humidity. I wonder if my friends can see the electromagnetic field pulsing between us. I wonder if it's making a Twilight Zone sound and warping the air between our faces. We've let it rest, die down to ashy embers, distant galaxies. But still, we feel the shadows of those devastating nights playing out inside our stomachs every month or so. And in those flickering moments, we dream the same dreams. Send messages, pictures, predictable transmissions from separate corners of the universe as we begin the inevitable approach. And now, we've been leaning in closer and closer as the night goes on. The gravity has gotten too cloying for public settings. We get a cab. At my apartment, we drink more, bourbon poured on the fire. The tension of making him wait is palpable. I feel my breath waver on every syllable, imagining him throwing me into a wall, onto the floor, ripping me apart. The verbal repartee grows less witty as the night progresses, but also more difficult, and therefore, in our minds, worth more points. We've been drawing closer as we give in to the lack of words, sometimes our only anti-gravity devices. Our tongues wetting our lips instinctually, and in a brilliant instant, we lock together. In the moment after the supernova of his lips on mine, the pure white light of the demolition of worlds, I shatter again, inwardly. The flash of our bodies touching lights it up for me. I see the night ahead if we give in to physics. The need in us, the built-up kinetics we've spun into being while avoiding this for so long, will shred our clothing from us in seconds. We will destroy one another. Scratch and slap and smash, our inability to give a voice to this thing we've created screeching itself out. He'll touch my body as he wishes he could approach my spirit, clumsy and alien and heedless, and I will let him, without saying what we both know, that he is hitting my center with every thrust, that he pares me down to a tiny brittle knot I cannot let him see, but which he can feel deep inside my belly. The specks in his eyes that I look away from when we are fucking, that neither of us can bear to witness for fear of exposing the fragility of what we have, those specks are our hearts. The violence we feed one another is their blanket. The pain we exchange is what brings us back to what we could have been, what we skipped over without becoming. That thing, whatever it was, it crushes us, and someday, if we continue this collision course, we will grind each other to dust. We will do this for hours, our eyes only meeting a few times. Every part of me will be stretched and raw and brush burned when he leaves. I will drink heavily for weeks, so will he. We will not speak for a month or two, pretend we haven't done these things before we send tentative hello messages to ascertain whether the other has moved too far away in orbit to begin another circuit. We pull apart and stare at each other. He leans forward, his eyes sliding down across my throat. I sip more bourbon and slowly push him down onto the couch, straddle his stomach, and drip whiskey into his mouth from my own. As he swallows, I place my hand squarely in the middle of his chest. I summon our kinesis, the need, the violence, the scorching reality of what we are doing at this moment, and I draw it into my palm like a ball of dark matter, all the invisible desperation holding us together. I whisper, "This is all," and I push it into him, a brilliance too dazzling to see through into the knot I'm opening for him, untangled and weeping, for just that infinitesimal blink it takes to create a universe. His eyes widen. He stops breathing. I don't wait to see if he starts again. Instead, I stand, walk to the bedroom, strip naked, and lie down.